Well, we now have episode 2 of The Rings of Power, and it doesn't get any better. It's really, everything is so thin in terms of plot and characters. The only character we really know at this point is Nori Brandyfoot, and that's because she keeps telling us, and other people keep telling us who she is. But other than that, still, we don't really know anything about these characters. No, there's really nothing at all when it comes to this, and I can't help but think, you go back to the Fellowship of the Ring. Being 2 hours into the movie, where are we? We're at the entrance of Moria. Whereas here, it's like it's now been 2 hours. We still haven't done a bloody thing. 2 hours. And nothing has been accomplished with your character. It's like there's plenty of opportunities for them to give more to their characters, and they just choose not to do it. They'd rather just teleport people places when you could have certain things that could happen within this time frame, but they choose not to do that. But we're just going to get into it because the last one was an hour, and I just kind of want to get through this one. I'm like, I don't want to be here too long again. What was it? An hour and 4 minutes, the last one. So, because I think this is probably, it's going to take longer, and I think if I carry on talking, it will just take us even longer because I've got like 4 pages of notes here. But we have their intro, and it's honestly, I think the best word to describe it again is just corporate. It's really corporate, and it doesn't really come across like this is a fantasy show. Especially with the music, and you've got these, I don't know, sand, is it, I guess, sort of moving. I thought we were watching like the Cosmos show. The one that Carl Sagan done, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson. Because there's parts in this where I'm like, oh, we're talking about black holes this time. So I'm expecting, once we're done with the intro, that Neil deGrasse Tyson walks up on the screen and says, black holes, what are they? What's inside them? Where does that's what I'm expecting. Once it doesn't come across as a fantasy intro. It's really just, oh yeah, this definitely came out of Amazon. It's one of those. Because even if we when they actually bring up the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, it's like it doesn't really match with what we've just seen. It's a little too clean. I think maybe that's what I'd go with. But we have our intro. Not very good. Galadriel's still in the water. And I believe, yeah, she starts swimming. Remember, she's in the middle of the ocean. In the middle of the ocean. I shouldn't have to point out how that's really dumb and doesn't work and doesn't make any sense. It's like I know she's an elf, but she cannot swim for that long and without being hydrated or anything like that. But she's the best. She can handle it. It's no issue to her. But later on it comes up, and it's, of course, again, it's the middle of the ocean. Then we get Nori standing over where the wizard just came down. He is Gandalf, by the way. They won't call him Gandalf, but we all know he's showing the signs that he's definitely, you're meant to accept him as being Gandalf. That's what I think is going to happen within this series. So she's just standing over him. Eventually goes down to him. Out of everyone that could find Nori standing there, it was just so lucky. It was her friend. It wasn't Sadoc or anyone like that. It was a friend that turned up. She screams like she's a mother. And then, because this is a bit I actually find really weird. So she runs up. If you just watch this. So they're both looking there. She's basically saying your mum will kill you and all that. It's like I don't get what exactly is it you've done wrong. I don't know why you're worried about what your parents say. So she does this and then she falls down. And the reason I'm doing it like this is because I don't know why that the other half foot is just standing like that for so long. just with her hands out like that. I don't know what that's about. But she falls in and then says, "Oh, the flames aren't hot. It must be so evil that it's so cold that heat doesn't give off warmth." I think that is what they're going for. Who knows? And then you can hear her friend saying, "Oh, she's making that face. Nori, stop making." It's like you can't even see her. What face? How do you know what face it is? So she says back to her friend, "We can't just leave him here for the wolves. That's not who we are." And then her friend says, "No, that's not who you are." So it's basically, she basically turns to the screen and says, "By the way, that is not who she is." But she wants to help the wizard. And then he wakes up, and then all the flames start spinning about and shit like that. And then it goes out, and then he falls asleep. And then she's like, we gotta get him out of here. It's like, why are you not just telling the other Harfoots? What do you think they're gonna do to him? Or you? It's like, I don't think it's your fault that this guy fell out of the sky. So what exactly are the other Harfoots gonna do? It's like, just tell them. I don't know why exactly she wants to hide this fact. You've got Sadok there out and about, wondering what happened. They don't bother going and checking or anything like that. And then they've got a wheeled, I don't know, they've got this cart from somewhere. They've managed to steal this cart. It's like, will people not see these lights and stuff like that? So they're pulling it up the hill. And then, yeah, it's like basically it's another one. By the way, guys, she's rebelling against what she's supposed to be doing. So that's that. Yeah, then they have, I don't know, they start talking about some shit that really doesn't achieve anything. Then the wizard starts rolling backwards down the hill. Very funny. Was very funny. So now they've set up camp. Yeah, they went into they went into their little camp and stole like blankets and stuff like that. So they're gonna lay him out here. And then we get more of telling us exactly who Nori is, because we can't figure it out. We can't figure it out for ourselves. We need a friend to tell us, and we need Nori to tell us outright exactly what she is feeling. Really, it's just such a lazy show. It really, everything's lazy. It's just, nah, we could build up our characters naturally and let you figure it out. Or we could just say, no, let's just have her tell you. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. So yeah, this is all about responsibility or something. A friend says to her, why do you feel responsible? And she's like, oh, no, what? No, a friend says, why are you doing this? And she says, because I feel like it's my responsibility. I feel like he fell here for a reason. He fell here because it's all about me. She starts making it about herself, that the reason this guy fell out of the sky, where they were, was for a reason or something like that. He's important. But she somehow makes it about herself. Don't know. But yeah, so by the way, she thinks takes responsibility for things. A friend even brings up a bird with a broken wing. So we've got that out of the way. That's done. She does mention as well. What was it? Yeah, she says, I can't walk away. I can't walk away from him. Not till he's safe. Yeah, later on, she fucks off home. She goes home, leaves the wizard just laying there, and then comes back the next day. He's pissed off, and she's wondering where he is. But now we're back with Arondir and Bronwyn. They're going through. So if you just look at this town, clearly it's been attacked. Yet Bronwyn, for some reason, brings up it looks like an earthquake. It's an earthquake. No, it's clearly been attacked by someone or something. By the way, these are, like, she has friends here, she knows people here, yet her reaction says otherwise. She's just, pointing out things. She even walks into this house and says, oh, these were my friends that lived here, Hannah and someone else. Again, you would think she'd be a little more, she'd have a little more of more of a reaction to that. But nah, it's just, I knew these people. All right, is that all you're going to give? You're not going to at least be shocked or anything like that. But they find a hole. They find a hole in this house. There's like a tunnel down there. And then we get the line. She says, you don't know what's down there. And he says, that is the reason I must go. Again, just more shit dialogue. It's like, yeah, we know that. I don't know. I don't really know why they're saying it in that way. It's like, yeah, we can kind of figure that. We can figure you don't know what's down there. And it's like, we can figure the reason why you would go down there is to find out. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just hand-holding. It's just holding your hand along. It's like, there's a hole. It's like, yeah, we get it. Where are we now? So, yeah, that's pretty much it for that part. He jumps down the tunnel. We'll come back to that later. And then we come to Eregion. Back to Elrond and Celebrimbor. So he's gushing over this hammer. I think it's something, I forget the name they mentioned now. But some builder. And then we start, so it's like all this way they haven't spoke about for what reason is Elrond going with him for. So we start finding all this out now, but they must have been traveling there in silence. So he shows him his plans. It's like, even in this, it's like, again, they say stuff and then they contradict it with what they do. Like, because I think Elrond says, oh, what is it you wanted me for? And Celebrimbor says, well, before I show you the what, we need to figure out the how. And then he continues to show him the what. It's like, what are you doing? But he wants to build, so this is, of course, to do with forging the rings. This is clearly what they're setting up, which, from what I understand, we don't see anything about the rings in the first season anyway. But he wants to build this forge. It's like a big tower. And then Elrond says, "Oh, have you ever like?" No, he says you would need a workforce for this. And he says, "Well, I asked that of Gil-galad, and he gave me you." It's like, well, no, you need a task force, so you brought, we're kind of, I think we'll get to it in a minute. But he says, "Oh, have you ever thought of, dealings with outside of the elves?" So I want to bring this up. But first of all, I think before we kind of get to that, if I can actually... Right, so... Right, we'll have that little frame there. So, I just find it funny that from what Celebrimbor wants to build, he knows he needs a workforce. He has one guy so they're going to the dwarves to ask for their help. So it's very lucky. They didn't figure this out before they left. I forget what the place is called now. Before they left Gil-galad. They never figured that they got all the way to Eregion, however far that is from where they were. And then they decide, all right, let's try and figure it's like, it's lucky Elrond knows the fucking dwarfs, isn't it? Because otherwise you'd be fucked. He'd turn up and go, well, you're here to help me with this. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? We need a workforce. We don't have a workforce. Why didn't we talk about this back then? Then we could have figured all this stuff out. But Celebrimbor's just under the assumption that that somehow one person, Elrond, can help him. And the reason why I bring up this little map, is because we'll see from the next scene. So if we just go back a little bit. So they're both dressed like this. So they're going to go to the dwarfs. And that's... So that, if you can just see, this is Eregion. This is the city that they just came out of. And they got to go all the way up there, over here. So how far do you think that is? Because, yeah, you've also got... It's like... It depends on the scale, but I'm pretty sure it's Middle Earth. They plan on walking. They don't tell us that, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So we've seen that. So that's how far they got to walk. You would guess a few days at least, few days to a week to journey there. And then we come to the place. Oh no, they just fucking walked. It's just their next door neighbor. They've just walked around the corner and they're there. They've just teleported in the same clothes. They didn't get off of horses or anything. So they've just been talking in his little house, his workshop. And then they go, right, let's leave. Not get, we're not going to have a rest or anything first. We're just going to, so, yeah, they've been having that conversation. Then they're all the way here already and they're continuing the conversation. So it's a little weird. It's like the things you could have done by showing that journey. You could have, gave more insight into the characters. But instead, you're just like, nah, fuck that. They just teleport there. They've just teleported. and I mean, just looking at that map again, it's like, do you honestly think that's, a 10-minute walk? Or an hour? Or a couple? No. Fucking longer than that. It's like, even if you look at the map for, Hobbiton to Mordor, it doesn't look that far. But it is. It's very far. But no, they've just walked around the corner. They're there. Okay. We could have done stuff, but no. So that's that part. Right, what are we on to now? So, yeah, they're just talking about whatever. And it's like... So, yeah, so Celebrimbor has lived, just, well, from how they show it in the show, an hour away from the dwarves. He's never thought, I need this forge built. He's never once thought, he starts talking about the dwarves, like, oh, they build these, great things. So you never thought, maybe I'll ask the dwarves for help. They only live next door at number 2. So why is it... Why is it only when Elrond comes, you're now like, oh yeah, I never thought about that before. Never thought about it. Even though he's talking about all the great things they've built. It's like, you need something building. Why did you never consider them? Dunno. But yeah, it is hilarious that they sent Elrond and it's like they didn't even figure any of this stuff out before they left. It could have been a wasted trip. They could have both turned up at Celebrimbor's workshop and said, I don't know, we're fucked then. But it's like, surely in that city of Eregion, there must be workers. There must be, yeah, whatever. So they're now at Khazad-dûm. They won't let him in at first. And really, Elrond should be a bit more worried about what he's getting himself into. We'll talk on that later. And then, yeah, he invokes the right of Sigyn Tarag. So he knows like what he is invoking. And we'll, again, something else we'll come back to. So he invokes that and then they let him in. And then he tells Celebrimbor, go back to Eregion. It's alright, we just walked up here. It's took us like a week. Now I'm going to walk back. In the same clothes. That teleportation shit, they completely forgot about it. They couldn't be bothered putting it in. Could have done loads of stuff with the journey. It's like, that's what, Lord of the Rings was a fucking journey. And shit happened on that journey. You could have done anything. But instead it's just, no, we're there, now fuck off. Alright, yeah, it's fine anyway. It's only a 10-minute walk. So they've went in, Celebrimbor's going back to Eregion. It's fine though, it's only 10 minutes away. So yeah, they're now and this was actually you know, part of the show where it was like, oh, this looks really cool. And then you remember, oh, but the story's really shit. But yeah, that looks pretty cool inside Khazad Dûm. So now we're in this little place here. There is Prince Durin. So they're friends. They're friends, and we'll talk a bit about it in a bit. But so Elrond has invoked the right of Sigyn Tarag, and yeah, he plans on, you know, he's bringing a proposal to Prince Durin for their help to build this forge. So Prince Durin walks in and then explains to everybody that already in this room already knows what exactly Sigyn Tarag is. It's like, you know, Elrond knows because he's just invoked it. He knows exactly what it is. All the other dwarves know exactly what it is, but Durin goes on to explain what's happening. Again, it's just hand-holding. It's like, we can figure this stuff out. We can figure this stuff out. It's like, I will improve the scene. So, yeah, basically it's a test of endurance. They're gonna smash rocks for as long as they can, and whoever loses... So if Elrond loses, it'll be banished from all Dwarven lands. So the banishment part, that's fine explaining. The other parts, it's like, no, everybody already knows what it is. So explaining it is absolutely pointless. So I think what would have been better here is if Prince Durin walks in, stares at Elrond, and then someone hands him his axe, and then he, you know, he smashes a rock. Then Elrond and then we gradually figure out, oh, it's a test of endurance. You know, that would have been a lot better instead of just Durin explaining it to people that already know what it is. But they've already done this shit in episode 1 where they explain to people. It's like, no, those people already know though, so there's no point explaining it. So that's pretty much that scene. And then, yeah, Durin eventually repeats himself that he'll be banished. It's like, yeah, you just said that a minute ago. And Elrond is a bit like, why is, you know, apparently Durin's his friend, so he's like, why is he treating me this way? So we eventually find that out, but later on. So they're just smashing rocks. We come back to that later. So now we're back with our Harfoot. Again, in the previous scene we seen her, she said she didn't want to leave him until he was safe. She fucked off home, came back, and he disappeared. Well, at least, you know, he was up the hill a bit. So yeah, he's drawing some, I don't know. Well, we find out at the end of the episode. But then he starts doing. This is what makes me think, oh, he's Gandalf, because you know, you remember the scene from the start of the Fellowship of the Ring, where him and Bilbo are arguing about the ring, and he says, Bilbo, and it goes dark and stuff like that. So that's basically what happens here. The trees, you know, come inwards and stuff like that. It goes dark, and I'm just like, surely the camp must hear or see this, because it's really loud. They're not that far away. So no one hears that, and then then she starts doing like sign language, like she's trying to talk to him. It's like, well, the guy clearly doesn't understand you. He doesn't understand, but she still keeps doing it. And then she starts doing sign language, which is obviously because Harfoot's hide and all that sort of stuff. So it's Harfoot sign language. It's like, oh man, what? Do you think he's going to understand that? No, he's not. He's not going to bloody understand that. Oh. So that's what constantly happens. It's like, there's no indication that he understands what you're saying. It's like he repeats some of the words back to her, but it's like he's just clearly hearing the sounds and making the sounds. Then she brings him like snails to eat. So, you know, with that, you can kind of figure out that, oh, she doesn't mean me any harm. So yeah, and then he start, because you're meant to take the shell off of the snail. It's like snails. Why snail? It's like you picked a load of berries. Why would you go? Oh, I know what he wants. Snails. So the wizard Gandalf. So Gandalf throws the snails in with a shell on it, and it just crunch and shit like that. Oh. So yeah, and then. So yeah, I thought Nori's dad is saying, "Where's Nori? She was supposed to be helping with it because they're like sorting out some, it's like a fair they're having. So they've got to build, like, sort of put up these big tents, and there's loads of Harfoots around. So like the dad has to help. It's like there's already loads of people here." And then this kind of mixes in with, in what way, I don't know. Where, this guy starts, like, drawing stuff on the ground. So, yeah, you've got a dad push it. It's like nobody's helping him or nothing like that. The rope is, like, they must... So, you can see that rope there. So, it's like it's going to split, of course. But it's like no one thought to check that. No one checked that before. It's like, oh, yeah... But yeah, while he's so I don't know. So yeah, so the rope snaps. So I don't know if this is because of the wizard, or what. I don't really know. I don't know what they're going for. But then if I can't see the frame now. So this is snapped. He's now holding up. Look at all these Harfoots sitting around doing fuck all. Pretty much everything with the Harfoots so far, they come across like a bunch of assholes. They don't actually care about each other. They're not a community or anything like that. They're just watching this guy, this Harfoot, holding up this big log on his Jack Jones, and they're just sitting watching him. They're just sitting watching him for about 10-15 seconds or something like that. No one's helping him. So, yeah, it falls on him like that. And then, yeah, I really don't know what it is, because so the wizard's like drawing something, and then the stick snaps, and then, yeah, so the twig snapped, and yeah, now he snapped his foot because none of the other Harfoots thought to give him a hand. Yeah, they're not doing a good job at portraying the Harfoots as good people. So he's now broke that. A friend comes running along saying, "Your dad's..." Well, like, first of all, the wizard's like fucking, like, he's gonna go for her or something like that. Nori says, friend. It's like, yeah, he doesn't know what that means. But she tells him, "Oh, your dad's broke his foot." And she feels all bad because I'm guessing because she wasn't there to do that job or something. I don't really know. But she's all like upset about it, like it's her fault. It's like, no, there was loads of Harfoots standing around. They didn't think to help him. So really, it's their fault. It's their fault for just standing around, just watching the guy. It's like, what are you doing? What, you're not going to help him? No. So then Sadok is like, is he able to migrate? It's like, just throw him on a cart. What's the issue? But it's funny they're more interested in that and whatever. But yeah, it's like, it's like you've got carts. You've got carts. If you need to migrate, just throw them on the back of it. You're done. So yeah, there's nothing to worry about. Which brings us back to Galadriel. Still swimming, by the way. Still swimming. Yeah, it's like you're in the... Again, I shouldn't have to explain how big the ocean is. Very big. Very big place. And what happens... it's very lucky this happens. She sees a raft in the middle of the ocean. So, Aquatics 101, the ocean is very large. Very large. So what are the chances you come across a raft? You've still got, what, about 390 miles to swim. So it's just lucky because you would have died if that was the case. You would have been dead. So it's lucky that in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of nowhere, a raft appears. It's like they really don't know how like big the ocean. It's like, no, there's no chance. It's like whatever. What the fuck ever then. But yeah, of course. So yeah, they had to figure out a way because otherwise she should be dead. If she actually fought. She actually thinks that she was going to make it back to Middle Earth. Oh, can you be any more full of yourself? So we finally see Halbrand. He says something to her. So yeah, so this woman here wants to help her until they find out she's an elf, and she's like, "Nah, fuck this bitch," because she's an elf. I don't know. I don't really know. But yeah, they ask her like what happened to her. Of course, she doesn't say, "Oh, I jumped off a boat," because that would be very embarrassing. She just says, "What did she say?" She just say, "Oh, I don't know, my ship went down." It wasn't that, but it was like sort of similar to that. So yeah, they're all like, so one guy is like, "Don't let her on." That woman brings her on, gives her water, and then the guy's like, "No, don't give her water." Oh, and then yeah, I think it's Halbrand. It's Halbrand says, "Looks can be deceiving." So, you know, I'll kind of spoil something here, but you know, I'll warn you now. You know, if you just want to skip this part just for 10 seconds, I'm just going to say it now. So 3, 2, 1. So, you know, we're led to apparently Halbrand turns out to be Sauron. So I just kind of find it funny. I kind of find it funny that it's like he might as well be twisting his fucking moustache as he's saying that. It's like it's so obvious now. It's like I think it would have been less obvious if I didn't have that information. But it's still very obvious. But that's all I say about that. So yes, you know, spoiler over if that's what you care about. So where are we now? Right, yeah, we're done with that. Only two pages to go. 2 pages to go. So yeah, they've got her on the ship. They figure out, oh, she's an elf, and she's like, oh, you lied. The other woman's like, you lied to us. It's like, no. How did I lie to you? You never asked me if I was an elf. Who knows? There's another. She does pull some faces in this show. So once again, in the middle of the bloody ocean, sails appear, and because they're talking about some worm. So this is probably the reason why they end up on a raft. So you can kind of see it just over here. It's had like sails stuck on its back. So it's found them. That woman there. Yeah, because she says, "Oh, the elf led it right to us." It's like, how? It's like, no, it clearly attacked your ship. It's clearly been led to you by you. And then yeah, she pushes Galadriel off the boat. Oh. Then yeah, I think so. So yeah, she swims away when she sees the thing coming. Halbrand. I'll try and pull it up. So yeah, you can see them getting, but yeah, Halbrand separates himself, like he cuts like a piece of rope or something like that. So you can see him over there. So he's like saved himself, and like he just says, "Oh well, I was getting away from what the target was." Then Halbrand saves her. Why? I don't really know. He saves her. And we come back to that. We'll come back to that, but now we're back to the dwarves, and they're just crushing rocks because it's a test of endurance. I know we've already said it, but you need to know it's a test of endurance. So Elrond like snaps one, and then he gives up. He goes, oh, "I'm done," and then he says, "I will the prince escort me to the exit so he can talk to him?" He's still dumbfounded on why exactly Durin's upset with him. We get a bit of drama that doesn't really matter because later on it just gets dropped. It's like they just thrown it in. Oh, we're done with that now. That conflict is over. So as it turns out, these two haven't seen each other for around 20 years. 20 years. Elrond never went to his wedding. Never came to see the birth of his children. Never sent a letter. Nothing like that. So this just makes Elrond look bad. It makes him look like a prick. Like he's a bit of a narcissist. Because he wasn't even... he even lies to Durin. Saying, because he does bring up, I've got a proposal. Durin's like, of course that's what it is. You didn't want to just see me because I'm your friend. Elrond says, no, I came to see my friend. It's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You came because you had a proposal. You never had this part in the show where you said, oh yeah, I could also go and see my friend, Prince Durin. No, it's just, oh yeah, we can use the dwarfs. They'll help us. So it really just makes him look bad. And it's like even going in, he never even clicked on. Because, we get lines like from Durin saying, 20 years may go by in a blink for elves, but for me it's been an entire lifetime. So, I still imagine years go by pretty much the same for elves. I don't think there's that much of perceiving it differently. It's still like a day takes a day. But it's like, if you haven't seen people each other in 20 years, it's like, you're both obviously very different people. So, I'm going to have to kind of side with Durin. But again, it doesn't really matter because they set this conflict up and then don't really continue it. We're done with it by the end of the episode. So, what was the pointless conflict? So they're going up the elevator. They've done all that. And then after wanting him gone, he then says, okay, you can come up and see my wife. You can come up and apologize to my wife and my kids. So, and then we see Disa. It's like, it's like she's not bothered that Elrond just pissed off. Or hasn't seen. She's like loves to see him. Durin's like, you're not staying for dinner. Then he's staying for dinner. So we get like loads of stuff from. Again, it's not that. There's not that much important stuff here. Nah, not really. They start talking about that tree. They talk about that tree in the background because these are seeds that Elrond gave to Durin. And they're like, it's like they're saying, oh yeah, they all thought Durin was a fool, thinking that would grow in the darkness. It's like, no, there's sunlight on it as we speak. There's also water that drips down as well. It's also in soil. So I don't know why you're thinking, oh yeah, they thought he was a madman. It's like, no, you put it out in the sunlight, so it's gonna grow. But it's like the same tree that we seen Elrond lying on writing poetry or something like that in the first episode. So it's the same tree. But I just find it funny. It's like, oh yeah, how would something grow in dark? It's like, no, it's not in darkness. It's not in darkness. Disa's talking about that her job is, I forget the word for it, but basically she sings to the mountain or something like that. To kind of test if this rock is worth like breaking into or anything like that. That's what her job is. Then they talk about how they met and stuff. Is it Resonator? I think that's a job. Something like that. They don't go for the beards, by the way, for the female dwarfs. So they're still, so Durin and Elrond are still upset with each other. It's just back and forth. He wants him to leave, then he says, all right, sit down, and then That's pretty much that we're done with that now. Done with that now. We actually, we'll talk about it. So now they're on the raft. Where are we? So it's like Halbrand. So no, well, there is a bit we're gonna have to bring up first. Actually, that's quite funny. So yeah, Halbrand, for some reason, like he's going in the water to wipe water over his hair, but yet he goes really deep into the water. It's like, you don't need to go all the way down there, and then he, like that. So what the fuck is this? I think people were definitely right when they said this is Dude, Where's My Car? The Dude, Where's My Car character. So he goes down like that. It's like, why? Why are you going down that far? And then he just does that. Oh. Yeah, and then he starts like asking about saying where is it? Well, yeah, no, he says like lines like, I suspect finding safety won't be that easy. Then the end of the episode comes about 20 minutes later from where we are. Yeah, and then she starts saying, "Oh, Halbrand says to her, oh, you must be a deserter." It's like, where are you getting that from? Why would you come to that conclusion? It's like she's in the middle of the ocean. Why would you go, you're a deserter? A deserter? Why? Where are you getting that from? I don't. Yeah, it's like there's nothing there to imply that she is a deserter. We know she is a deserter, but it's like there's nothing there for him to go, oh, you must have been a deserter. It's like, no, what? Why would you know that? Why would you be able to figure that out? Who fucking knows? Yeah, and then, he says stuff. Oh, you're either running towards something or from something. He says, I think Galadriel says, summon. Says summon, and then he says back to important elf business, no doubt. And then she like gets triggered again and says, "What have elves ever done to you?" It's like, no, he didn't say that though. You didn't say that. So yeah, even like talking to him, it's like, because he says, "Oh, my village or like my home was destroyed by orcs." So she's like, "Oh, I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for." Like, they don't trust you enough. The writers on the show don't trust you enough to figure out why she would be why she would be interested in that, because they flash Sauron's mark on the screen. It's like, yeah, we all got it. We all got it. We know what she wants, what she wants to do. We already know that. You don't need to flash Sauron's mark in her eyes. I know. And then, then a random storm appears. If we just get to it. So yeah, you get a storm over there. Well, we didn't see it. Fuck it, doesn't matter. But yeah, it's just a random storm appears. So now we're back with Bronwyn. Arondir went down the hole, the tunnel, and Bronwyn runs back to her town. She goes in there and explains everything that's happened over at the next village, and they're like, "We will not tolerate gossip here." So why would she be lying? I don't understand why you would just go, nah, it's just gossip. So no, she just fucking ran back. She doesn't think to, like, because the guy's saying, oh, it must be, a landslide or something like that. Even though I don't know why he's saying what it could be, even though he doesn't believe her. So he's saying, landslides, or she says something else. He says something else, or sinkholes. And it's just, you just think to yourself, well, Bronwyn, you're not giving them everything. You're not saying you went there. You seen it burn to the ground. There was holes and tunnels everywhere. Why are you not explaining that? What? It's like, I don't know why they ain't believing her. It's like, why would she make it up? For what? What, she lied before? I don't know. I don't know if they're just, again, trying to portray people as incompetent. I don't know what it is, but they've got no reason why they wouldn't believe her. So, yeah, then they're like, because, like, she says, I'll call back the elves. And he's like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. You need evidence. You need evidence first that this town has been destroyed. It's like, you can just walk over there. Just walk over there, have a look. I don't know what all that is about. So then, yeah, so Theo, so that's it. I remember his name this time. So Theo's sitting by the fire, and then you can hear scratching on the floorboards, and he's like, mice. It's like, do you fucking hear how loud those scratches are? That ain't mice, my friend. I don't know why you think that's mice, but whatever. And he just throws a big tantrum. He throws a tantrum, you know, like when you get beaten a game and you throw your controller at the fucking wall. You know, that's what he does. He takes like it's one of those, you know, things you stick in the fire, and he starts bashing the fucking floorboard. It's like, what? That's a bit of an overreaction just for mice scratching. Why have you went from, you know, 1 to 10 like that? But then he looks through the hole, and there's it's like an eye that looks through it. So yeah, you could have done a lot more with that. You could have made that a lot better than just, oh, he gets mad at mice scratching on the floorboards and then smashes up his floor. It's like, you know, what's his mum gonna say? Is he not considering that? I don't. Yeah, it's not really. No one would go this mental about mice scratching on the floorboards. But he smashes that, and then an orc looks for it. But now it's Arondir going through the tunnel. He finds nail or something like that. I'd have to rewatch it because I think when I watched it, I couldn't really make out what it was, but it's something along those lines. But then he starts to hear things. He looks one way, then he looks the other, and you see like these arms, like in a shadow, coming up the way. It's like he went down here to find them. No, to figure out what was going on, and then he runs away from it. It's like, you got a sword. Just sit there and have your sword in front of you. But instead he, you know, scatters off like a bitch, and then starts trying to climb through this little gap. So surely by now that thing's all... So there's all like these rats going through there and stuff like that. So, yeah, so then he goes into this bit of water, climbs up, and then he sits there. And we've seen this bit in the trailer. He's like waiting for... It's like, you could have done this in the tunnel. You could have sat in the tunnel, waited for the thing to come. It's like you're a warrior, aren't you? But then, yeah, then he gets pulled. He gets pulled through by... So this is, of course, leading into when we've seen him like chained up in the trailers. So he's been captured by orcs. So Bronwyn runs back home to see her son. It's turned up. There's a hole in the floor. So something's been going on. She shouts down there, "Theo, where are you?" Something like that. Yeah. So now we're on to the final page. We're almost there. We're almost there. Hopefully we can get it done before beat our time for last time. So yeah, she shouts down there, and then Theo's in the cupboard. He's in the cupboard, and then you start hearing a creature coming back, an orc. So, yeah. So we've seen this bit in the trailer as well. There's a lot of stuff that's out of the trailer in the first 2 episodes. So she's in there freaking out. So that's our orc there. He's come back up. She like walks back, rattles the shelf. It's like, so yeah, he's urgent now. He's urgent. Then that pot we see there starts to fall off, and she goes, "Oh, I got to save it." It's like, no, he's already urgent. Pointless now. Pointless. It's already urgent. So then we start getting a fight with the orc that's fucking piss poor. You can barely make out the orc. It's like every time you're trying to get a look at him, and then it cuts away again. It's one of those fights again that's shaky cam and cuts here, cuts there, cuts everywhere. And it's a very baffling fight. Very, very strange. I don't know what the fuck's going on with it. But like, yeah, so and since when did orcs get superpowers? You should see this orc fling a table at the other side of the room. It's like, Jesus Christ. Wait, how are you managing to do that? It's like a big wooden table, and he's just flies across the room. But like they've stabbed him with some like garden tool, I guess. And then he's because Theo ran up the steps. The orc like sort of, I think he's got a sword. He's got a sword, and like you can see the broken steps there. And then he gets caught in the ladder. And then, so he's standing there trying to pull himself out. It's like, well, that shouldn't really get stuck in you, should it? How strong you're pulling away, it should just, that blade should just slide out of you, or the step on the ladder breaks. But he's like got caught there. That was lucky, wasn't it? That was very lucky. Because yeah, like he pushed Bronwyn. It's like and she has an opportunity to do something to him, doesn't take it. Then we get. So yeah, this is fucking strange as well. It's like in the middle of this fight. So look, you can see that. So that's that blade there. It's like not coming out of him at all. So yeah, so you can kind. That's a weird looking fucking orc to me. Looks like a pig or something, doesn't it? So she's just standing there looking at it. Then Theo throws a fucking noose around it. He's been up there in the loft making a fucking noose. And he throws this noose around its neck. Then he jumps off the... Then he jumps down to hang it. Hang the fucking... What? It's like, yeah, look, how did you do that in that amount of time? He's like, made a noose. He's thrown it around something up there. Slid it around the orc's neck. Like, in that, really, you know, it's lucky. It's very lucky that blade in his back didn't pull out, isn't it? Because otherwise he would have killed your mother. But yeah, you actually made that mid-fight. Yeah, okay, whatever. So you can think. So they hang the orc. The orc gets hung up there. He's just dangling, and then he like. That's a weird looking fucking orc. But yeah, you can barely get a good look at him, really. It's like they look at it, but it's like, yeah, it's like too close, shaky. So it was they had that similar issue in the House of the Dragon episode 1, where the fight was too close, too shaky, and too many cuts. So yeah, the orc like, you know, slices at the rope and cuts himself down. So that is that. So yeah, that is a weird looking orc. So Theo's on the ground and the orc's like slowly going. It's lucky he's moving slowly. So then Bronwyn gets the opportunity to cut his head off. Places it in the pub and then says to them, oh, we're going to the at first light, we're going to the, like, you know, the elven watchtower. We're going there. Nothing gets said. They don't question it or anything like that. They don't say, what the fuck is that? And it's like, why would that convince them exactly to go there? Who knows? But we got our girl boss moment. Plenty of those. Yeah, so now we're here. So yeah, it's now the storm's come and we're now dealing with Halbrand and Galadriel. Galadriel's a fool in this. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on in this as well. So if you can kind of see it, we'll kind of go through this next frame shit. So she's tied herself. She's tied herself to like the mast or something like that. Why you would do that, I don't know. I don't know why you tie yourself. It's like, yeah, of course you don't want to fall off. But at the same time, if this breaks and you're tied, which you are tied to something heavy, and it falls in the water, it drags you down, you fucking drown. So it's not that good of an idea. But then rather than just have it be a fuck up, they have a lightning strike. Where is it? Yeah, it's like a lightning strike hits the bit that she's attached to, so it breaks. It's like they really don't want her to just have a fuck up, do they? They want to blame it on, nah, it was the lightning. It wasn't her stupid fucking idea to tie herself to this thing. So why would you do that? It's like she ties herself fucking proper good as well. So it seems to me like you didn't have to, because Halbrand bloody didn't. So yeah, so you can see that lightning strike there. Yeah, it hits exactly there. So it's like, what an idiot. So she's down. So she's down, falling in the ocean, tied to that thing. Then Halbrand decides to save her, pulls the knife out, cuts the rope. Because even if you look at that, look how she's fucking tied around that. Why would you do that? That's dumb. That's really fucking dumb. And so what you would expect to happen, because here, Galadriel is unconscious. So she's drowning. So when you're underwater, it's like you're still breathing. So you're breathing in water. And so she's unconscious. Yet when she rises, I'll get this right. So when she rises to the surface, what would you usually expect to happen in scenes like this? You would expect Halbrand would drag her back onto the raft, push down on her to get the water out. You know, all the stuff we know that happened that you should do when someone has taken a lot of water in. So what happens is, if we just find it, they come out at some point. Oh, she's fucking fine. Fine. She's now awake. She's now no longer unconscious. What? So, no, that's not how that works. It doesn't work that way. So that is just, yeah, they must have forgot about that. So that's very strange to me. And then, yeah, she helps. She doesn't need CPR or anything like that to get all the water out of her. No, she just comes up. She's fine, even though she was unconscious a minute ago. Why would you then not be unconscious when you came up? Don't know. So, and then she gets onto the raft, and then she pulls up Halbrand. So, yeah, a lot of strange stuff going on there. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you must have seen films before. Come on, writing team. You must have seen films before where when a person has been drowning, they get pulled up, they get CPR. Fuck me, you ever watch Baywatch? Ever seen that? I haven't seen much of it. But I imagine they do it considering they're lifeguards. Fucking hell. But that gets us, we're almost done. We were almost done. We've got another 7 minutes of the episode. So they come back to Gandalf with like, yeah, he turns around and like looks at their lanterns like, what the fuck is that? So it's like, what are they called again? Why am I forgetting what they're called? Fireflies. I don't know why that just went away then. So yeah, he like breaks this. He does like Professor X and like breaks the lantern, so all these fireflies come out, and he's basically he's trying to explain to them what it is he wants, what he needs help with. So I just make sure I got everything. Yeah, and then then he starts putting all these things in the. Why can I not find it? So yeah, it's basically yeah, he's like looking for stars or something like that. That's what he uses the fireflies to make a lot of constellation. So look, yeah, they're looking. So he needs help finding stars. Yeah, Nori says he wants us to help him find those stars. In what way? What do you mean find those stars? They're up there. They're in the sky. How are you getting up there? So I don't know what they mean by he wants to find those stars. It's like, right, so he's just looking for stars in the sky. She says, I've never seen these stars before, but I have a pretty good idea where I can find them. So this is, I don't think I actually brought it up in the first episode, but like Sadok, Lenny Henry, has like books, like they look at stars, and he looks at stars and stuff like that. So that's what they're going to do for episode 3, I guess. Yeah, so that's that scene. So they're setting that up for for episode 3. Then we get the king, the king of the dwarfs, the king of Khazad-dûm. Yeah, he's like we haven't even seen, we never seen Elrond give the proposal to Durin or anything like that. They didn't bother putting that bit in. So yeah, the king's like, it's very weird that it can't be a coincidence that the elves have shown up as we're getting to it in a second, as we've found what we found. It can't be a coincidence. Yeah, and Durin says to them, I've known Elrond for half a century. I'd sense it if he were hiding something. So they've completely forgotten about the beef. They've squashed that. That's over with now. Pointless introducing it. Really, it was. But now you're even at the point where you're defending him now. And it's like, again, it's been 20 years. You pointed out yourself, it's been 20 years. You're very different people. But then the king says, maybe he sensed something. You were hiding something like that. And so that's that conversation. Then we have our literal mystery box. It's not the Arkenstone, but I find it weird as well. It's like, so as you're talking about it can't be a coincidence. As we found this stuff, you're going to look at the stuff. Why? Whatever. But yeah, apparently, rumor has it it's Mithril. It's the first time they found Mithril. So that's what that is. And then we finish on Theo. He pulls out Sauron's sword, and then blood starts being pulled towards the sword, and then it has that part happening where it starts rebuilding the sword out of his blood or something like that. I don't know. And then his mother says, "Theo, let's go." So the town's leaving, and I thought Bronwyn loved Arondir. I thought she really cared about him. Now they're just going, fuck him, let's go to the tower. It's like, of course you can make the case that she's like, well, he'd want us to go there, and so he'll come and meet us when we get there. But you would put in a scene like, maybe she's hanging about a bit, waiting to see if he turns up. And like Thea's like, Mum, we got to go. We just got to go. We can't hang about. So it's like, you could have just added a scene like that in, and that would have, again, a reaction to that town being destroyed didn't come across like, it came across like, oh well, that's clearly bullshit. That wouldn't be a reaction. And now it's like the person we've seen where she's so in love with him, she's just like, nah, we're going now. It's like, wait, what about Arondir? You forgot about him. Did you forget about him? I thought you loved him. Clearly not. Clearly not. Again, all you had to have was a scene where she's waiting till the very last minute, and then Theo says, "Right, we got to go. We got to go now. If he's not coming, he'll figure out that we've went to the watchtower, because that we would be safe up there." That's all you had to have, because now it just looks like, oh, you don't give a shit. All right, you don't give a shit. You've forgotten about old Arondir. He's went down a tunnel. What about him? Nah, it doesn't matter. And then, as I said, because there was a part in this where, I don't know, I'm blanking on his name now, but let's just say the guy, where the guy says, oh, it's not going to be easy to find safety, until they randomly, again, it's 101 of the ocean. It's very large. So now they've come across a ship. So in this episode, she's come across a raft, luckily. Then another, then that worm comes over, and then now they've come across a ship in the middle of the ocean that's very large. So I guess our next episode is them being in Numenor. That's what I guess about it. So it kind of just ends on that. She wakes up, and we're done. That's episode 3. So as you can tell, we still haven't done much. There's still, I don't know what the plot is here. What is it we're doing exactly? You know, we've now had 2 hours of material, yet we've done nothing. We've got nowhere. We've went nowhere. It's like you just compare it to the Fellowship of the Ring. At this point, we were about to go into Moria. We've been to Rivendell. We've, been up west Weathertop. We've been up all these places. But in this, we've still done nothing. Who would have thought this series would have been squandered? Would have been absolutely squandered. It's like we don't know anything about the characters other than Nori because we've been told this. So it's like, yeah, this episode was a lot worse than episode 1. But to kind of recap the episode, so what exactly has happened? So with the Harfoots, they've just found the wizard, and the wizard's told them about stars he wants to find. In terms of Galadriel, she's been in the ocean, got on a raft, and now she's found a boat. Arondir and that, they've been in the town. She's went back to the other town. Then they've left the town. So we're really doing fuck all here. Even with the dwarves, it's like, what did we really do there? Elrond went with a proposition. We still don't know if Prince Durin is going to take them up on that proposal, if he's going to agree to it. So it's like, again, what are we fucking doing? What are we wasting our time on for 2 hours? 2 hours of again, is how many shows now? Is there shows like this where there's things happening, but there's no story, there's no plot. It's just things happening, random events that are happening. But we're not. It's like I don't even know where we're going. It's like, of course, it's called the Rings of Power. You know what the story's going to be about, but you think that would have all been like, well, we know where we're going now. But no, still haven't done anything. Still haven't done anything. 2 hours of absolute shite. With, like, the only good bit was probably when we got to see inside Khazad Dûm. That was about it. Other than that, I ain't really got anything good to say about it. We had all that teleportation going on with... It's like, that was probably... That probably annoyed me the most, I think. Where they're talking in Celebrimbor's workshop, and then in the next scene, they're already at Khazad Dûm. In the same clothes. So he brought up the dwarves, and then they said, all right, let's head round. It's only a 5-minute walk, it'll be fine. When it's like, just looking at that map, they're on foot. You're looking at least 4 days to a week, maybe more. Maybe someone, because I was trying to figure out what the distance would actually be. I was trying to look for that online. I couldn't find it. So if anyone else can figure that out, it would be very interesting. Because I'm just like, nah, you shouldn't have shown us the map. You shouldn't have shown us the map. But it's like the amount of things that could be established on your journey to Khazad Dûm. Maybe some events happen on your way there that tell us more about these characters. But no, they're still thin as shit. Like tissue paper. That's the kind of characters we're dealing with at the moment. But it's what I expected anyway. It's what I expected. But yeah, so far episode 2 is the worst, and it looks to be. My prediction is it's going to continue to go downhill as we progress. I think once we actually start getting to the meat of the plot, what you would probably say, I think we're going to be having a lot more issues. a lot more issues. It's something we we see it quite a bit. Obi-Wan Kenobi was like that. It just gets worse as it goes on. Most Marvel shows are like that. It just gets worse as it goes on. The more they introduce, the more they don't keep track of things. They forget about things. And it just turns into an absolute mess. But there you go. I did think we'd end up here longer than the last one because the amount of you don't know how long it takes to go through an hour episode, like when you're constantly pausing. You can't get through. It just reminds me of Multiverse of Madness when I did a review for that. You can't get through a scene without a problem or an issue or something that's lazy. You can't do it. So that's why I ended up with like 4 pages worth of notes. Because you're just sitting watching it, and then as soon as fuck's sake, you got to pause it, write it down, then you got to play it again, then 30 seconds later, you got to pause it again to write something down. So it's a fucking nightmare. It's a nightmare. So this episode was definitely worse. Definitely worse. And I didn't even spend, it's like we've been here an hour and 12 minutes. An hour and 12 minutes. Ugh. I imagine that timer on the fucking video would probably put people off watching it. But I'll finish off there. I think we've done a good job at kind of recapping what's happened in the episode. And yes, it's not very good. It's not very good. This was definitely the worst episode so far. But we're now done till next Friday, which I think my review will be out Saturday because I'm working on Friday, so it's a bit hard going to come back, try and watch it, get all your notes, and then also record it, and then render it, and then upload. So it makes it a bit of a fucking nightmare. So the next one will be out Saturday. We'll be out Saturday. I'll just make sure I have everything ready so I can just get in on Saturday from work, and I can just record it, and then it's done. Then it's done. We can get it up, and what else have we got on? What else? House of the Dragon tomorrow. But other than that, I've got nothing else to say. The worst episode so far, and I imagine it's only going to get worse.